The Wolf of Oil Companies. John Davison Rockefeller is possibly the most successful man in the 1800s. Even when he was a teenager, he got straight to work. Rockefeller didn't seem like he was scared to get into the real world and make money and grow up to be an adult. He built up Standard Oil from nothing. Rockefeller didn't only build up Standard Oil, but he revolutionized the oil industry itself. J.D. later merged the Standard Oil Company with his trust called Standard Oil Trust. This was at the peak of Rockefeller's life, and he was only 25 years old. Oil in the U.S. Before Rockefeller started taking over the oil industry, there was a man by the name of Edwin L. Drake. Drake is the man credited for being the first person to drill for oil in the United States. He was hired by the Seneca Oil Company, which was the first major oil company in the United States. Drake started drilling for oil by a retired railway in Titusville, Pennsylvania, with a drill and a steam-powered engine. The engine gave the drill the power needed to drill deep enough for the oil. At 16 feet deep, the sides of the hole began to collapse in. Drake was not about to give up. He had the idea of a drive pipe. A drive pipe was a cast iron pipe that was consisted of 10-foot long joints. The pipe would be driven down into the ground. When they would strike bedrock, they lowered the drill, which was powered by steam, through the pipe to drill through the bedrock. The well that he drilled was later nicknamed Drake's Folly. The early life. John D. Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York. Rockefeller had great manners. He was very religious, sincere, and a studious young boy. When he was a boy, Rockefeller would raise turkeys and sell potatoes and candy to make some money. In 1851, Rockefeller attended Owego Academy. Just 2 years later, in 1853, his family moved again to a suburb in Cleveland called Strongsville. He entered the Central High School in Cleveland and enrolled in a 10-week business course where he studied bookkeeping at Folsom's Commercial College. The beginning of an empire. At 16 years old, Rockefeller obtained his first job as an assistant bookkeeper for a small produce commission company called Hewitt & Tuttle. In 3 months, he made $50, but Rockefeller was so generous he donated about 10% of his salary to charity. In 1859, Rockefeller decided to establish commission business with Maurice B. Clark. Rockefeller slowly started making a push in business, making good money annually. The business enhanced to $4,000 in capital. After the wholesale foodstuffs, Rockefeller and Clark constructed an oil refinery in what was called the Flats. The Flats were located in Cleveland, Ohio. Andrews, Clark & Company directly owned the refinery. The company was comprised of Clark and Rockefeller, a chemist named Samuel Andrews, and Maurice B. Clark's 2 brothers. The commercial oil business was not that popular at the time. Rockefeller bought out the Clark brothers in an auction for $72,500 and established a company of Rockefeller and Andrews in February 1865. Rockefeller had the clear advantage of the post-war prosperity and the large growth in the West, which was promoted by the great expansion of railroads and the economy, which was fueled by oil. Standard Oil of Ohio. Cleveland was among the 5 main refining centers in the United States after the Civil War. In June of 1870, Rockefeller established Standard Oil of Ohio. Standard Oil grew quickly and became one of the biggest shippers of oil and kerosene throughout the country. Rockefeller had a self-reinforcing cycle of purchasing competing refiners which enhanced the efficiency of his operations. In 1872, in less than 4 months, Rockefeller had purchased 22 out of 26 of Cleveland's competitors. The refiners that he would purchase would end up becoming a part of the Great Oil Company. Two of Rockefeller's enemies, Charles Pratt and Henry Rogers, found it useless to attempt to compete against Standard Oil. In 1874, Rockefeller, Pratt, and Rogers had a secret deal and made Pratt and Rogers partners with Rockefeller. Pratt's son became the secretary of Standard Oil. Standard Oil was developing rapidly at this time. They had their own pipelines, tank cars, and home delivery service. Rockefeller was changing the oil industry completely. Rockefeller had kept the price of oil and kerosene so low that his competitors couldn't compete with his prices. In 1879, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania was accusing Rockefeller on charges of monopolizing the oil business. This brought some attention to Rockefeller. The company needed to keep their concentration on their holdings, so Rockefeller's lawyer could form a corporation and establish the Standard Oil Trust. This trust was an organization of corporations. This allowed the company to get around the state laws that prohibited them from owning stocks in other companies. This business trust served as a model for the creation of monopolies for other businesses. The end of a legend. John D. Rockefeller went on to succeed with the Standard Oil until he retired at 56 years old in 1895. Rockefeller gave over $530 million to various charities and causes. He helped pay for the creation of the University of Chicago and the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research in New York. He moved to Ormond Beach, Florida with his family. Rockefeller passed away on May 23, 1937. John Davison Rockefeller is considered one of America's leading businessmen. He helped shape the nation into what it is today. Rockefeller's legacy will live on for a very, very long time.